Good morning, afternoon, whatever time of day you're watching this. I am currently 3 weeks postpartum. Here's my little babe sleeping on me. She takes most of her naps here. So I wanted to talk with you about the difference between a birth with an epidural and a birth with absolutely no pain meds. I had inductions with 2 of my births. I have 3 daughters. Ava is 10, Mila is, she'll be 9 on Saturday. And then Raina is 3 weeks old. So with Ava's birth, my water was leaking on its own, but I was in labor a total of 60 hours with her. They ended up giving me Pitocin, and I ended up getting an epidural with her. With Mila, I was well past my due date, and they induced me with Pitocin and Cytotec, Cervidil. I think it was Cervidil with her. And then I was doing totally fine, so my induction with her started around 8 a.m. And I ended up, this is life for the newborn. I ended up having her around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, but I think around 11 or so, they talked me into an epidural. I wasn't in that much pain yet, but they were like, well, you don't need to get to that pain, like go ahead and get the epidural so that way you're not in pain. And I was like, okay. So I did that. Well, then I had wanted another baby for the last 9 years, but Josh and I decided for him to get his vasectomy when Mila was like 8 or 10 months or so. We had 2 babies within 18 months, and it was a lot, and Mila was colicky, and she cried a lot. So with that, it was very hard to do anything at all in life. She just cried all the time, and it was just so hard. I just felt so bad for her all the time. So with Raina, we ended up having Josh's vasectomy reversed about 19 months ago, almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to even think about. But with that being the case, I was on the depot shot for about 2 years prior to his vasectomy getting reversed because my menstrual cycle was just extremely painful. I really regretted that afterwards because it took us 9 months to be able to conceive Raina after we were actively trying. And that's because I wasn't getting my cycle back. And it was just very hard for us. So with that, after we conceived her, even beforehand, I had known that I just really wanted to try natural. Like my first birth with Ava, I had my mom and my mother-in-law there, and I just wasn't able to like focus on the pain. Like I just didn't want to be rude to them. I didn't know what to expect, and the pain was getting really bad. And with Mila, it was just Josh and I, and like I said, I was just talked into it, and I had just gotten one, and I was like, okay. So I did it, but I never really was able to prove to myself like if I could actually do it or not. So with Raina, I did so much research the 9 months that we were trying to conceive and the entire 9 months that I was pregnant with her. And I was just determined that like I'm going to do this the very best of my ability. Like no is not an answer, epidural is not an answer unless I physically can't, especially with being induced. So then the only reason I was induced was the coronavirus was around. I did not want to get tested for the coronavirus while I was in labor. That just sounded awful to me. So I knew I would have to get tested a couple days beforehand, which was fine. I mean, it was an awful, awful experience. I'll link that video here. But I wanted that. I wanted to make sure that I had my specific doctor. I knew that I wasn't sick at that moment. I didn't want to potentially get sick and come down with the coronavirus and then try to take my baby away from me or keep my baby away from me. Because that's what they were recommending at that time, was isolation from your baby. And that just, maybe that's why I'm so like, I can't put her down right now. Well, A, I've wanted her for 9 years. And B, when I have postpartum, I get more anxiety than depression. I did have the baby blues for sure, with Ava and with Raina. But when I have postpartum anxiety, it's all about leaving the baby. So right now, this is where she sleeps. She just naps on me and we just love each other and bond together. Okay, with Raina, went in to get induced and they did not give me Pitocin. I really, really, really didn't want Pitocin because I really wanted to try to go natural, and I heard that Pitocin, like, just makes your contractions stronger and faster and harder than your body's normal way of contracting. So we did cytotech to start contractions. Did that for 4 hours, and that started them, but nothing significant. And then the doctor broke my water, and that was enough to just immediately pick up the contractions. So she broke my water at 2:30, and I had Raina at 7:41. I must say the labor was definitely very intense with Raina, and pushing her out was the hardest thing I've ever done. Well, it wasn't hard to push her out. It was painful to push her out. Like the pain that I felt right in that moment was nothing compared to the contractions. But the doctor also said that she was keeping her inside for like 4 pushes. Like she was pushing Raina back in or holding her there so that way I wouldn't tear. Which I'll get into that in just a minute. But as far as would I do it with an epidural or without again, I can't answer that question just yet because the pain is still so real and memorable. But it did happen gradually. Like I was able to breathe through the contractions, and then I would like moan through the contractions, make noises, and then I was definitely very vocal through the end of the contractions. And so weird, my doctor, she only checked me when I got in there, when she broke my water, and one other time before I had Raina. And when she checked me at like 5:30 or 6, something along those, no, maybe it was like 6:30. She checked me and I was 5 to 6 centimeters, but my cervix was completely ready to go, 100% effaced, all of that good stuff, and Raina was very, very, very low, completely engaged and everything. So when that happened, she said, okay, you're gonna have this baby in about an hour. And I was like, how do you even know that? And I think it was the way that I was laboring, how vocal I was being, how I would labor through them, just all of the above. She just knew that I was in transition. And sure enough, within about an hour and a half, I had her. My doctor came in and she sat there for like a good half hour, although it felt like 5 minutes to me. And her and Josh were talking, and she's like, you're gonna probably start feeling pressure soon. She's like, and I'm okay with you to, go ahead and push down a little bit if you feel it. And I did. I started to feel like I had to go to the bathroom. And once I felt that, then I was sitting on the ball and I would push down. And then the next contraction came and I pushed down. And they were like, okay, you're not having this baby on the ball. You need to get in the bed. And so I got into the bed, and it was just so intense. Okay, I'm doing more of like a birth story here. So once I got in the bed, then, I couldn't logically think about things. So when you have an epidural, you're able to be aware completely of what's going on. When I didn't have an epidural, I was aware of what was going on, but I was not able to control my body. Like, I was not able to pick up my leg like they wanted me to. I was not able to round down like this to push. I was not able to look at the baby when her head came out. So that was a little bit disappointing because that would have been amazing to see, but at the same time, it wasn't possible. I was like in survival mode and like, get this baby out of me mode. Now with Raina, I did not tear at all, not even in the slightest. So the recovery for me has been outstanding. I was a little sore like the first day or two, but I think mainly that was from the hospital bed that we stayed there. My tailbone really hurt from that because it was so hard. And whenever I would sit down on like a hard surface, it definitely felt a little swollen down there, but nothing like pain. And it's 3.5 weeks and my bleeding has definitely slowed down. I'm only bleeding slightly now, which is great. With Ava and Mila, the recovery was awful. With Ava, I tore and needed stitches, and that was, oh my goodness, to pee, to do anything, to get up was just awful. And I guess I have like a really powerful push, so I would just like push the baby out and just do it quickly. With Mila, I didn't tear, but I was still really, really sore. And with the epidural, they make you like, you still have a catheter in for a while, and you're just not able to get up because of the epidural still being more, like, I got up within an hour of having her, and I was able to walk to the bathroom, I was able to go to the bathroom. It's just been so different. So recovery-wise, no epidural is hands down the best. And then I felt great about not having any medicine in me to be able to, to nurse her and to know that she didn't have anything running through her while she was still inside of me. Where with Ava and Mila, I had to constantly be aware of like that, and I felt like Ava was really, really sleepy. And so was Mila. Now Raina was very much awake. She was awake for the first 4 hours, I'd say, and she nursed for almost 24 hours of the first day of her life. Like, she just nursed and nursed and nursed. She would take like a 5-minute break, but if she could, she would just keep like using me as a pacifier the whole time. So my milk came in extremely fast with Raina. I think it was I had her on a Wednesday night, and by Friday night, my milk was in. And Saturday morning, it was like, I was so engorged. It was amazing. But, I mean, amazing to the point of like, I can't believe how quick that was and how much my milk came in. But, yeah, that's kind of the difference. So if I could look back on it, no epidural, hands down, is worth it. And we're going to have another baby, and so I will probably have no epidural, but we'll see. I'll leave my labor stories here as well, and you can watch them, and then you can kind of decide for yourself if you think that I should go no epidural again or have an epidural. While it was very intense, it was very quick. We were able to watch movies. I was able to text, I was texting my girlfriends, just a couple of them, while I was in labor to kind of distract myself when I could while I wasn't actually having contractions. And that was until like 5:30, and then after 5:30 it just became too intense. And I would just take a breather, and then like when another contraction came, it felt like 5 seconds, but it was like 1 to 3 minutes or so. So it was really amazing, and I'm so proud of myself, and I cannot believe that I did it. So I think I would definitely recommend trying to do no epidural for yourself if you can, because the recovery has just been so phenomenal. But I had both, and I see the pros to both of them and the cons to both of them. So yeah, that's kind of my story of having an epidural and not having an epidural. Please subscribe if you haven't already, like this video, and comment down below if you have anything you would like to ask me. Have a great day. Bye.